Sophia's words echoed in Daniel's mind long after she left. After 20 years with a loser like you, I finally found a real man. Those words, meant to wound, had hit their mark, but not in the way she expected. Her contempt, her smirk, they were fading in his mind, replaced by something else. Clarity. Strength. He wasn't a loser. He was more than she had ever given him credit for. The house, now quiet and empty, felt like a blank canvas. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew it was his to shape. For the first time in years, he was living for himself. Each morning, Daniel's routine became a symbol of his rebirth. He ran. At first, the weight of the past made his steps feel heavy, but as the days passed, the burden of regret lightened. The cool morning air filled his lungs as he ran through the trails near his home, feeling the strength returning to his legs, to his soul. With each step, his confidence grew. The man he had been with Sophia, the one who gave everything and asked for nothing, was gone. In his place stood a man who could stand on his own, face the world, and conquer it. At work, Daniel found a renewed focus. A long-forgotten project he had been too distracted to complete now became his mission. His presentation stunned his colleagues, and applause rang out as he unveiled his solution. His boss, impressed, pulled him aside later, praising his leadership and innovation. "This is the kind of leadership we need," his boss said, and Daniel smiled. This wasn't just success. This was redemption. A few weeks later, he signed a new project that would reward him not only with recognition, but also with a sizable bonus. It felt like a win in every sense. His skills, his mind, his effort, they were all coming together in ways he hadn't imagined. The satisfaction wasn't just in the work, but in knowing that, for the first time in years, he was living life on his own terms. Sophia's voice, harsh and dismissive, still echoed sometimes in the quiet moments, but it was no longer a reminder of defeat. Instead, it became a catalyst for his transformation. She had thought she was leaving him behind, but in reality, she had unknowingly set him free. The life he had once sacrificed for her now belonged to him. And as the days passed, Daniel found peace in the silence. The pain of her departure faded, replaced by a quiet confidence. He wasn't the man she had tried to make him out to be. He was the man he had always been, but now he was finally awake. Months passed, and Daniel was thriving. Still, through mutual friends and social media, he couldn't help but keep tabs on Sophia. This retired officer had left him for a phantom, a fantasy. At first, she believed Michael would elevate her life beyond what Daniel could offer, but cracks formed quickly. It wasn't out of animosity, but curiosity. Daniel learned the truth. Michael had a temper, a gambling addiction, and their finances drained faster than she had imagined. Rumors swirled. One night at a gala, Sophia attended alone, whispers following her. "He's a mess," someone muttered. The so-called real man wasn't the hero she had envisioned. His retirement wasn't glamorous, and his reputation was crumbling. At a networking event, Daniel overheard two coworkers near the buffet table. "I heard Michael got into a shouting match at a bar last week. He's blacklisted at the casino downtown." Later that night, Daniel's phone buzzed with a message from an old friend. Sophia's new life isn't as ideal as she had anticipated. Michael's causing chaos with his outbursts and gambling problems. Daniel couldn't help but marvel at how karma was enacting its own justice. Sophia's opulent new life had swiftly turned into one of instability and disorder. As the pieces began to fall into place, they painted a picture of the mayhem she had entered. One evening, Daniel got a surprise call from a mutual acquaintance. "You won't believe what's going on with Sophia." His friend continued, "She's been showing up at events alone. Word is Michael's in debt up to his ears, and she regrets leaving you." Daniel couldn't help but laugh. He wasn't exactly satisfied, but there was a silent vindication in realizing that Sophia's arrogance had led her straight into the life she deserved. A year after Sophia's departure, Daniel received an invitation to a black tie event hosted by a tech company he had recently partnered with. The event was attended by some of the most prominent people in the industry. As luck would have it, Daniel arrived poised and confident, a far cry from the man Sophia had written off as a loser. When Sophia saw him across the room, her eyes widened. She took in his fitted suit and the effortless way he spoke with the CEO. Her heart pounded. Hesitantly, she approached him, her once confident manner now replaced by uncertainty. Each step forward felt heavier than the last. Regret churned in her stomach as she watched the man she had abandoned flourish. She reflected on the life she had left behind, the stability, the quiet strength Daniel had always displayed, the way he had never let her down. Now, standing before him, calm and successful, he was everything she had overlooked. Her fingers fiddled with the strap of her purse as she finally managed to whisper, "Daniel, you look good." When their eyes met, she didn't see the man she had rejected. She saw someone who had thrived in her absence, someone she had gravely underestimated. The weight of that realization was unbearable. "You look good," she repeated softly. Daniel turned to face her, remaining silent for a moment, allowing the quiet to speak for itself. Then he simply smiled and said, "Thank you, Sophia. I've been doing great." Her eyes flashed with something, regret, maybe. "I heard about your project. Congratulations. You've accomplished a lot," she said, her voice hesitant. He nodded. "I have. And how is your relationship with Michael going?" Sophia's face fell. "It's complicated. He's been dealing with certain things." Daniel's smile remained unwavering. "I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it works out for you." She opened her mouth to say more, but before she could, Daniel excused himself. He walked away, leaving her standing there. He didn't feel angry. He didn't feel sad. He just felt free. That night, as he gazed out at the city lights, he realized something important. His success was never about revenge. It was about rediscovering who he was. As for Sophia, her downfall was simply a reminder that karma worked best when left to its own devices. He had regained his self-worth, rebuilt his life, and found strength in his independence. True power wasn't in getting even. It was in letting go and moving forward. The best kind of vengeance wasn't fueled by rage or payback. It was success, happiness, and thriving. Karma didn't need help. It worked on its own schedule, bringing justice in its own way.